Sportin Wales podcast, powered by Sinclair Group, your go-to for Welsh sports news and views. Welcome back to another episode of Sportin Wales, and today we have some legends on today, some Lions legends, especially with what's happened this week in Liam Williams and Anthony Watson. Lads, how are we? Who's going first?
I am very well, thank you.
You good, Sanj?
Yes, very well. Yeah.
Good? Been up to much?
Very well. No, holiday.
Holiday with the little one?
Holiday with the little one for the first trip to Tenerife.
Nice.
Nice week away with the in-laws. So just hand the baby over to them every now and then. Lovely.
Fair play. Andy, how you been, mate? How's retired life now? It's just mad to say.
Yeah, it's all right.
Young, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all right, mate. It's not all holidays like Sanj's life. So, I'm in the nitty gritty, mate. Studying, doing a whole bunch of stuff, trying to make ends meet. Sanj is just out there on holiday, living his best life. So, it's all right for some, mate. But some of us have got a graft, you know.
Yeah, rugby's been kind to Sanj. He's done well on the contract front, hasn't he? I'm not saying you haven't, but yeah. As you can see. But what have you been up to anyway? Obviously, you got a testimonial this year. That'll be a pretty big year, I guess.
Yeah, it's taken up a fair bit of planning, especially seeing as I'm doing it with Jonathan Joseph, who's not known for his admin skills. But yeah, it's exciting, mate. That's part of it. I'm doing a few other bits, invested in a few sports tech companies, so trying to stay involved with those guys. And then obviously the media side of stuff with the podcast and all of that. So just trying to stay as busy as possible, mate, because, going from being in every day to then not doing anything is a bit of a change up. So yeah, just trying to stay busy. But it's nice, mate, having your own schedule and people not being able to tell you've got to be here then, eat this then, go to sleep then. So taking back control of your life is it's quite nice for now anyway.
Yeah, because I guess for 10, 15 years, we've been pretty much told you got to be here at 8, you finished at 4, only, everything, it was given to us, isn't it?
It was
how
given
are
to us.
you finding that?
I'm okay. I had surgery on my knee 12 weeks ago, so I done another MRI yesterday, so should get results back of that this morning, but it all feels great. And yeah, I'll be looking for a club after that, but in terms of being told what to do, it's actually quite nice, to be fair. You go into training, food's cooked there for you.
You complain about Sophie's cooking already?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. She's a great chef. So yeah, I've enjoyed it for the past 12 years, and if there's any clubs out there looking for me for an extra year, sign me up.
Oh, easily. You were saying about
self-plug, Ant.
I reckon if you were fit, you'd probably been picked yesterday, wouldn't you? Easily do a job, I think.
No comment.
Definitely could do a job.
Well, it's good to see your rehab going well, mate. And obviously, hopefully, you'll be picked up. There's plenty of clubs, I think, especially looking for an experienced man like yourself, a fullback. Obviously, with the Lions yesterday, lads, I got a bit of a question. Obviously, we were all back 3 players. Anthony, I played you plenty of time, and we scored many a try against myself and Liam, and hasn't he? Too many, probably.
A fair couple of times.
He used to do quite too well against Wales.
Still not happy about that one, to be honest.
Well, I'm going to keep it real. I used to love playing against Wales.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
I got a little question. Obviously, we're all back 3 players. It's just a little simple one, a bit of a laugh. Who scored the most international tries between us 3?
I reckon it's Cuthy.
I reckon it's Dens. It's you, isn't it?
No, it's Dan's. 23.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
You're on 23, mate. Liam's on 21. I'm only on 18.
What?
Yeah. I was in the wilderness for many a year down at Exeter.
Yeah, that's true. And how many caps you got?
56.
That's a good
I think you two have both smoked me.
That's a good strike rate, though.
That's a very good strike rate.
I'm on 93.
Mate, not when you compare it to like flipping BL Barry and Penno and are miles off it. Those guys are on, and Will Jordan.
They're
Jesus Christ.
What are they on? 1 foot? They're literally like
ridiculous.
Jordan's on is he like 50 caps, 48 tries or something?
Something like
it's
that.
bizarre.
But to be fair, I didn't used to score them. I used to hit the hole and then pass it on, 2-on-1. Stick him in.
Well, yeah.
You in the corner?
Yeah, you passed more than half us, so I probably would have got you. And then we had Jonathan Davis and Doc, who never passed the ball. But yeah,
0% chance you're getting the ball off Doc.
No, he used to stick the ball up his shirt. Doc.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. All right, lads. Lions squad yesterday. Where did you watch it, Sanj?
Just in house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're soft.
Dens, what were you doing? You do have any events in London or anything for it?
Of course, he did.
I was at golf day, mate.
Golf day.
You turned into a right nose, I must say.
How's the golf?
I flipping love it. Oh, it's so bad. So bad.
What are you playing off?
Like,
Come on.
Oh, don't ask him.
14.
Oh, that's all right.
No. 14 is miles off it.
That needs to be
honestly,
higher. 100%.
Yeah. I was on a hot streak last year, and now it's really hurting me. There's no point in me going, mate. I'm miles off it, honestly. I'm the only bloke you ever know, mate, who's been refunded a lesson for golf.
Yeah, that's one hell of a story, that one.
Fair play. You'll have to explain later on. I seen a clip of you with, I think it was Tubes, and you hit an unbelievable shot out of the rough. I don't know. Was that a fake shot or was that an actual shot?
It was an actual shot, but it's never been replicated since.
Yeah.
So
right, okay.
Everyone's reference for me as a golfer, I think I'm actually all right when actually they missed the 45 shanks that I hit every round. So, yeah.
I have proof of Den's being not so good on the golf course from Jersey and then South Africa from the last Lions tour. Oh, absolute comedy gold.
You guys have literally lived on a golf course in South Africa in the last Lions test. Was that I guess golf was just probably the only thing you could really get out and do.
Yeah, obviously depending if you had like a niggle or two, but every off day we'd either be playing Call of Duty or we'd be on the golf course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you love your Call of Duty, don't you? You lads, fair play. I was just thinking, did you like the live element of how they did it yesterday in terms of the crowd? And because I felt like some lads were getting real big cheers, some weren't getting any. It was a bit awkward, I thought.
I think it's good to change it up. I think they had to do something different. I think that given it was obviously like a first run, I'd imagine they'll probably look back and want to change things or do it a bit differently. But I think making it a bit more interactive with the fans is important because, as we know, Sanj, from the last tour, those series without the fans are completely pointless. So, like making them as involved as possible throughout the whole process, I think is really important. So yeah, there's probably things that they could have done better or changed, but I think that the core offering of having the fans there is really important.
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. I thought they dragged it on a bit from the start because obviously online is said Lions squad announcement at 2:00. So I was there like waiting at 2:00. And I don't think it was said until about 2:45. And if I was an option to be picked, I would be sat there waiting for like 45 minutes. And it was quite long. But like Anne said, it's good to get some of the people involved, fans.
Obviously, your first experience of Lions. Where were you when you got called up your first time, Sanj?
I was in my mum and dad's. So for the modelling shoot up in Manchester, so went down to my mum's and watched it with mum, dad, brother, sisters.
That would have been New Zealand tour, wouldn't it?
New Zealand tour, yeah.
Do you go out? No. Or were you still playing, or do you have a couple of games left?
I can't really remember, to be honest, but I just remember going nuts when my name was called, and then I think I went back home then to my own house. Yeah.
What did you do, Ant? Your first one? That would have been 2017 as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was at the club. We were training, and the day before, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a massive news article that came out saying that Jamie Roberts was getting picked and JJ wasn't. So I spent the 24 hours before that consoling JJ, basically saying, mate, it doesn't mean anything, mate. Yeah. And then obviously, we both get announced at the club, and it's amazing, but it's one of those. I don't know if you guys had it as well, but once you get named in the squad, you're buzzing for a day, and then you're like, right, I've got to play all these games for my club, and then I've got to go on this tour, and I want to start. Do you know what I mean? So it quickly changes from I'm buzzing through the roof to I got to get on with what else I've got to do now in order to make the most of the opportunity. So it's a weird feeling. You quickly change out of buzzing to onto the next job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't. I was lucky enough. We didn't have any games after the announcement, so I was literally on a bit of a bender for a couple of weeks to until because my last game was against England, but I tore my hammy in that game, didn't I? And I was supposed to go when the announcement we played Ulster away, but Phil Davis, to be fair, was like, nah, we'll pull you out. And then I didn't play. And then the first game was in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So I sort of could like really enjoy it. You know, I was with like 8 or 9 lads I was living with.
Yeah.
You know, we went to the local pub and yeah, you can imagine what the rest is history. But
Yeah.
it was obviously everyone has their different
Everyone
little
goes
stories, don't they? Like I couldn't imagine having games after sea. So if someone like Jack Morgan, who's playing tonight, you know, just got named. He was on a plane getting named. It's going to be a bit
there's
odd,
a couple
isn't
of games left in the Prem as well. The English Prem, and obviously there's quite a lot of those, and a couple of games left in the URC still. Not that like the Leinster boys will play. They don't play in the like URC. So
There's a lot of rugby to be played even before they meet up, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, it's tough. I found it pretty hard, to be honest. And I think what makes it even harder is if you're playing in games where it's like essentially dead rubber. You know, like if you're 8th or 9th in the league, you've got nothing to play for, and you're playing the last 2-3 games of the season, but you've got a Lions tour in 6 weeks. It's like, this is hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, how am I going to get up for this? And one part of my mind is onto trying to stay fit for the Lions, but then obviously you want to do a job for your club. It's hard. Yeah, I think the first time Bath were really good, to be fair, with me and JJ, and they said, like, we had 3 games left, and I think the last one they just said, don't bother. You know, we've got nothing to play for, and worst thing is you guys get hurt and don't go on the tour, which, you know, ultimately happens pretty much every announcement. You know, someone gets picked and then ends up not going because you know, it's just the way that the game is now. Yeah,
that's like literally the worst fear, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, just on that, who do you boys think are those 2 spots that are available? What positions?
I think it's definitely a back 3 player, just because I think Kinghorn's not quite fit, Hansen's not fit, Van der Meer's not fit, you know, not playing. So maybe that cover there, but that's probably where maybe Elliot Daly's in the squad because he can play in every position. I don't know about you, Ant.
Wait, what did you say? There's 2 available slots for what? I missed that.
So Andy Farrell's picked 38, and he's pretty much said there's 2 remaining spots open because of injuries and so forth. So he's pretty much given the indication. He's given the indication that there's 2 more lads that will probably go on tour. So all get picked in the next couple of weeks.
So I think it would be, as Alex said, probably back 3 and I'd say back row 8 maybe, or I'd probably
depends of Doris, isn't it?
Yeah, Caelan Doris.
Yeah, who would your bees at?
Yeah. No, I reckon that they want to, you know, give Caelan Doris the best possible chance to do an Allen win and recover and get back on the tour. And then I think from the back 3 perspective, I completely agree. And I think it opens the door a bit for someone I think has got a good chance if he gets back and plays pretty soon in Manny Boso. You know, if he comes back and tears it up for 2 games, I think he's got a chance of going, especially like you said, Coffee, with those guys who are carrying niggles.
It's tough for back 3, especially in Australia. I remember the year, there's a lot of boys that got called in. We had Wadey, Shane Williams, Zebo, lads that had to come in because the back 3 were just getting hammered every game. It was tough in Australia. Going on to a squad announcement. Any first reaction, Ant, in terms of like, were you surprised about any, or was it a squad that you were more or less expecting?
Yeah, I think on paper, mate, there's not really too many, you know, arguments you can make. I think one, you know, probably in a position we all know is Darcy Graham can probably feel a little bit hard done by to not go. You know, obviously played well in the Six Nations and has been, you know, one of Scotland's best players for a while now with how many tries he scores and what he offers. So he's one I was, you know, not surprised is the wrong word, but he can feel hard done by, I guess, by not going.
I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, I guess
taken him.
Hansen was the one I thought was a little bit of a surprise, maybe,
to be honest, but that's just my personal preference.
Yeah, I guess Pollock is the other one, but was that expected? Like that, how quick a rise is that, by the way? Like no one really is saying a word about him in the Six Nations. He plays for England in the 20s in the first game, and then he's playing Wales, scoring. And what was that? 6-7 weeks ago? And now he's called up to the Lions score. Is there anyone got that quicker? Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, berserk. And I think he's so good for the game, mate. The way he carries himself, he's got a bit of Liam Williams in him, you know. Doesn't?
I knew that.
I don't think he's as hard as Liam.
Nah, all the best.
He's not a bag of spanners, but
but he's come from nowhere, and obviously he's been playing like for Saints. He's been on fire. Like last weekend, playing against Leinster was just an incredible game.
Yeah, that try he scored. There's not many wingers score. There's probably not many wingers scoring that, really, is it? I know Prendergast was playing touch rugby, but still, it took a lot.
I'm going to give him a tag. Trying to take his tag off.
What the other ones? Maybe Cummings. Maybe a bit of a surprise call up.
Yeah, George Martin's injured. Yeah. So I thought
Dav maybe.
Dav's a good shout. Who
else we got? Cowan Dickey. I know how good a player he is.
I know
and people are a little bit surprised maybe, but that's an area where I thought Derry Lake maybe had a go. But
Sinclair Group has been part of the motor industry for over 80 years. That's not just a number, it's generations of trust built on shared values, because family isn't just who you're born to, it's who you choose to stand with, and that's what matters to us. We offer new and approved used vehicle sales and service for some of the world's biggest motor brands, and trust, that's at the heart of it all. So whether you're starting your journey or continuing a legacy, visit sinclairgroup.co.uk. Belong for good.
Obviously, if you look at the squad, you've got 15 Irish, 12 from Leinster, which is, I don't know if there's been anywhere more than... you could see that's probably going to be the spine of the team, and then they'll probably build around that. Is that what you're looking at, Ant, do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon so. I think, those guys play week in, week out together, or as much as they can, for both Leinster, Ireland, and you'd imagine, like you said, that from a cohesion and consistency perspective, you want to keep as many combinations as possible. So I wouldn't say that, all 12 Leinstermen will start, but I reckon that there'll be a good amount that will be in the 23 at least. I think it's hard to argue with anything but that, given how good Ireland have been for the last couple of years. You want to try and keep that same consistency, don't you? Because it's hard to get everyone on the same page, especially if you want to adopt new systems in attack or defence. You want to try and keep consistency and guys who know it inside out. So just to, translate for ease, I guess.
Yeah.
And obviously all those guys, all the Leinster guys and the Irish boys, they've worked with Andy as well.
Yeah.
So they've worked with him for a couple of years now. So I think he obviously knows how to get the best out of them and how they play. And just like Anne said, it's about having that cohesion.
Do you think it's a bit nuts he hasn't brought maybe an Irish 10, just in terms of the way they want to play? Or is he obviously just rate Russell and the Smiths?
Yeah, no,
more
I
than
think
Prendergast and Crowley, I guess.
No, I think the 3 10s that they got are probably the 3 best options that they've got. For me, I'd probably start with Finn Smith.
Yeah,
he'd be my starter. That's the way he's been playing for England and playing for Saints. On the bench, and I'm not too sure.
Yeah, Marcus. Well, I guess what's your preference on that, Ant? You obviously would have played against a lot of those lads, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've admitted it before. I'm definitely biased. Like, I love watching Marcus play, and I love players who can create absolutely something out of nothing, and I think he does that. Finn's the same, and I think that Finn Smith, offers something a bit different to the other two in that he's probably would be regarded as a steadier head, a bit more, I guess, encouraging everyone else around him as opposed to doing complete magic on his own.
Bit more pragmatic.
But then we've seen a bit of that from him. So yeah, I think that it's hard to call, mate. I have no idea who he'll go with, because I think any of those options are class. It all depends on how he wants to play and how, he wants the other backs to kind of feed off that 10. So it's horses for courses, really.
Yeah. I can definitely see Marcus Smith being in the 23.
Yeah, I'd like him to be on the bench.
Thought,
just like as Ant said, he's got that X factor.
Yeah,
he has got especially last 20 minutes when you need to get a game to open up. I think you want, because he's got that running game as well.
I was just thinking, imagine him and Thomas Williams coming off the bench. Oh my god, it'd
nuts.
be nuts, wouldn't it? I'm looking forward to those sort of combinations. I think they're the ones that you just never will imagine you could see. But imagine Thomas and Finn Russell. Those combinations could be anything, couldn't they?
Two lunatics.
Yeah. 13 English, is that about, that's a lot of English, isn't it? I think there's a lot of boys played their way probably the last couple of games in the Six Nations, didn't they? And that Northampton game, obviously, dusting up Leinster was good to see. They, those definitely worked their way into the squad, haven't they? I think a lot of those, the English, the way they're going.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, if you said 13 Englishmen at the start of the Six Nations, most people would have told you you're having a laugh. But I think that the way that they went about their business throughout the Six Nations, where they finished, how they performed, I think it kind of justifies itself. And then, like you said, you add into it like guys like Henry Pollock absolutely tearing it up.
Yeah.
And you add into, Saints' success in Europe, and it's like, it's hard to ignore. And that's what, from like a selection perspective as a player, you want to be a player who's hard to ignore. And so, you put yourself in that position, you have to get picked, and it becomes less of like, oh, he's English, he's Irish, he's Welsh. It becomes, well, I actually can't not pick him. Do you know what I mean? So I think that that's ultimately what's happened. England have done well, and players have taken that form from England to club level to the point where you can't not get picked.
Yeah, I do think that game on the weekend had a massive bearing on quite a few positions. I don't know if you agree, lads, but you're not going to get a closer game. That was probably more intense than some international games, wasn't it? That was probably the perfect game that Andy Farrell needed.
Yeah.
You would have thought.
Well, I only watched half there. I was in Irish bar out in Tenerife, so I only watched half.
Sorry. Just drop that one, Lynn.
It's all right for some, mate. It's all right.
Oh, how the other life living it, huh?
Yeah.
Sans 2 Welsh, which is, I don't want to say is one of the lowest since a long, long time ago. We probably haven't got too many complaints.
I don't think there are no complaints from myself. We just spoke about possibly Dewey Lake, but
Toby, maybe.
But Toby, then you look at people like Jamie George. Could he have been in ahead of Dewey? No, there's no complaints from me. Obviously, Wales didn't go too well in the Six Nations. The wooden spoon in 2 years in a row. So there's no complaints from me. Just hope Jack and Tommy can stay fit.
Yeah, I think those two will have a big influence in the squad, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're 2 big test team players, aren't they? Obviously, some of the big omissions, we got Jamie George, Finlay Beelum, Caelan Doris, obviously injury, Talupe Falatau, both Willis brothers. Everyone was saying Tom Willis. Was it Tom or, Tom Willis from Toulouse was like a certainty, didn't they? Jack, sorry. Was a certainty, didn't they? But
I actually picked him when I was, and tried to tuck me up on a live show the other week.
Did he?
Yeah. And I picked Jack Willis to go, but Andy Farrell obviously has his thought about him, and but like we said, there is a spot there. I think personally for maybe a number 8 or back row.
Yeah, obviously, and you think Darcy Graham's probably a bit unlucky not to be in. You got Tom Jordan, who had a pretty good Six Nations.
Yeah.
Rory Darge, Ben White, George Ford, absolutely flying for sale at the moment. That's another. Robbie Henshaw, he probably feel a bit aggrieved.
Robbie Henshaw, I forgot about that. Yeah, Jesus.
You think with Geordie Barrett coming in and taking his spot a little bit, he'd probably feel a bit aggrieved, wouldn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I actually completely forgot. I think, out of the list you've just mentioned there, I think the ones that stand out for me is, like we said, Darcy Graham. I think Tom Jordan was awesome in the Six Nations. I think he can probably feel hard done by. And I think it would be remiss of us to not mention Toby. I just think that Toby, as a number 8, is so out on an island of his own in the way he plays the game. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's just got to be there. Like, there's no one who can move like him and do what he can do at number 8. And for me, I just think that he has to be on the tour as a minimum because of what he offers. But I think that maybe game plan and like we said, all that style, maybe they don't want their 8s carrying on the edges where Toby is lethal and need them, I guess, creating those yards in and around where there's no space. So maybe that's a reason, but who knows? And Jamie George is the other one. I think he'll be, he'd have loved to have done 3 tours. And, you know, I thought the way that he handles himself in the Six Nations, both from a play-in perspective and from a leadership perspective, obviously losing captaincy and then, you know, going about his business the way he did, I thought he had a really good chance. And, you know, he'll be probably not annoyed, but I think he's got the right to feel hard done by.
Yeah, I actually thought Jamie George would be like the perfect sort of that midweek captain, sort of player, that experience. You know, like you said, like it's all well and being dropped by captaincy, and it's like how you take it, how you respond, and he's shown perfectly how you do that. You know, and not everyone has got that, have they? You know, in their character to do it. You know him well.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
no, none of us back 3 take and drop.
Should have seen me in 2021. Ask Sanj when I got dropped for the 3rd test. Fucking hell.
Mate, don't worry. I got dropped second test in 2013 and the casino took a hammer.
Well, we were just stuck in a room, so... Yeah,
I feel a bit sorry for you lads, but no. Toby, I just had a feeling, especially with Doris Injury, I thought he'd just be such the perfect... Because he's been unreal the last couple of games, isn't he, for Cardiff?
I don't see an out-and-out 8. That's my thought. Obviously, Jack can play 8. I think with Jack, I think he plays well whenever he plays. Then you got Ben Earl who can play 8 as well, but they're not that tall like we spoke about at the start. So maybe they're missing a bit of height. So does Tagburn play 6 or I don't know.
It depends how they're going to play, isn't it? They obviously
of course
pick that back row. They're just like you said, Anne said, they're not going to have obviously their back rows on the edges, are they? Really, they're probably going to have Sheehan on one side or something. You know, they use their hookers quite a lot, don't they? Yeah. In terms of the way Ireland play.
They do, yeah.
That's probably why they picked the back rows small, aren't they? They're robust. They're probably big engines, speed of ball, isn't it? I guess that's what they probably think is going to beat Australia. I guess with the fly halves that they've got the power
or do you go for ball carrying 8s and then leave like Ben Earl if he plays at 8 on the wing because he's quick, he's rapid. So like it all depends what.
Well, Pollock's rapid as well.
Yeah. It all depends which way Andy Farrell wants to play.
Yeah, how do you think he'll go? I know we're just sort of guessing, aren't we, in the way they're going to play, but is it pretty much going to be the same as Ireland, you'd say? That's probably what he knows well, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd imagine so, to be honest with you. I think, given, like you said earlier, about the spine of the team being Leinster-based and Leinster and Ireland playing very similar, it just seems it would just make sense from a consistency perspective for the Lions to adopt a similar type of style. I think that they probably may try and implement a little bit more tactical kicking against Australia than Ireland do, because Australia's back 3, in fact, Australia's back line in general is absolutely insane on paper. So you don't want to overplay in your half and give them turnover ball because those guys are ridiculous. So, they've got arguably the best kicking scrum half in the world, or ever to do it, in my opinion, coaching them in Richard Wigglesworth. So I'm sure he'll have a solid say on that. But I think generally you can make the assumption that they'll play with that Leinster style or Ireland style of, fluidity with, I guess, a bit more tactical kicking is how I see it.
Yeah. Like, they've actually picked 6 locks, which seems a lot, isn't it, really? Do you think? I guess, obviously, unless they look at Tygburn and Chesham as 6s. But that's, they've gone for physicality in that front 5, haven't they? And then very mobile back row.
I don't really know much about the forwards, to be honest, Cuth.
No, you did stick your head in more than half of them, to be fair.
I just love a jackal as well.
Sinclair Group has been part of the motor industry for over 80 years. And in that time, we've learned it's not just about cars, it's about the impact we leave behind. We believe in driving change, supporting the people around us where we live and work. Because when our communities thrive, we all do. We offer new and approved used vehicle sales and service for some of the world's biggest motor brands. But what drives us goes far beyond the road. So whether you're starting your journey or continuing your legacy, visit sinclairgroup.co.uk. Belong for good.
Obviously, Farrell is mentioned, obviously, maybe winning one of those 2 players. Do you think there's a spot for him in that squad with the experience, or is he?
I don't personally. I think they picked three tens, and I think that's going to be enough.
No.
If he was to go, he would have been picked ahead of one of those. But obviously, he's very, very experienced, which would obviously help on the tour. But no, like I think his own man said that he was getting back to fitness and etc. So no, I don't think there's a space for him.
And did you have an opinion on Farrell getting picked? Did you think he was, or was it pretty much a no-brainer he wasn't going to get in it?
I think given, his inability to play like loads of games this year is probably what affected it more than anything. I think that on paper, he tours every single day of the week.
Yep.
I think that, in my opinion anyway, if he was still playing in England for England, he'd still be playing 10. And I think he would therefore be a guaranteed starter for the Lions. That's just, I don't know. That might be biased given how much I've played with him, but I think given how much he impacts the game, how he is off the field, I think he would be a shoo-in. But I think ultimately, like I said, given how much he's played this year and not being in England, not playing international rugby, I think it becomes a difficult argument to make for his dad, and he's the one who's face up to the flipping media.
He's the one who's got to pick the team.
It's one of them. I've had the question in the week, like, would you pick your son to play? Well, yeah, I would pick him, but obviously it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
But fair enough. Okay, we'll go for a few predictions. Score, like, how do you think they're going to do down under? It's going to be tough, isn't it? Like, people are writing off
3-0.
Australia. 3-0, are you? Wow, fair play.
Yeah.
And
I'm going 3-0 as well.
Are you?
I don't think Australia got it, mate.
No, not me. I don't.
I think Australia could win the first test in Brisbane. Their record in Brisbane is unreal. I know we won 12 years ago there, but
do
you think just too strong?
Yeah, just obviously we played them last year, so and we had quite a young team, and we still come like really close, except for my mistake at the end. Give them a try, but so I think the Lions will take it 3-0.
3-0, fair play. And then any early contenders for player of the tour, which is nuts to even ask, really. But like, you wouldn't put it past Pollock, really, would you? Getting it if he got in the test team. But,
I don't think Sione at 12.
Yeah,
I think he's been injured for a little while, but before that, his form was just outstanding.
Well, he actually hasn't played a game this year, I don't think. So it shows how highly Andy Farrell's obviously regarded him, isn't it? And
yeah, mate, he's a joke. Like, there's very few 12s who have got the only one similar to Sione in terms of like ability to do everything you'd expect from a 12 is Bundy. Can carry it up the guts, got some feet, and can distribute like a 10. Like, has got a kicking game as well. Mate, they don't come much more well-rounded than Sione and Bundy. And, I think, like you said, it's ridiculous for him to go having not played in the Six Nations. I don't know how many times that's happened before, but, he deserves to because of how well he played in the autumn and how well he played for Glasgow before that.
Yeah, and he's a captain as well.
I also think Tommy Freeman. For me, he starts on the wing in the test. So his form again, like I said, has been great for Northampton. Really, he's outstanding.
Yeah, he's solid in most assets, isn't he?
His attacking ability, feet work. I think he's just got it all.
He's no Anthony Watson, though, is he?
He's no young Dens. No.
Who's your back three then, Ant? Who'd you got? Obviously, we know the squad now. Who have you got?
Yeah. Do you know what? I reckon midway through the Six Nations, I would have said this is easy. Like, it's going to be Doohan, James Lowe, Kinghorn. And now I reckon that, obviously Kinghorn's carrying a niggle, so we'll say he's fit. I still think he would start at fullback.
Yeah.
And I think James Lowe is as guaranteed as they come to start on the left wing, given, probably style of play and how much they rely on him at Leinster and Ireland, for exits and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I agree with Sanj. I think that Tommy Freeman starts now. Doohan's obviously carrying a niggle, not been available for Edinburgh. So I think that Tommy Freeman, with his form and how he's played for England and Northampton, every time you get the opportunity to play and you put another solid marker down, it's like a confirmation that this is my opportunity and I should be starting. And he's got so little between his ears, mate, that I don't think he'll be thinking too much on the tour, and he'll just fly.
What's he like?
He just does it, yeah.
Mate, he's the biggest airhead I've ever met in my life.
Right, okay.
Mate, honestly. Why are you making that face, Sanj?
Nothing. What? I didn't make any face. Because I was just thinking the same. I was just thinking the same about Duan.
Duan only plays left wing, doesn't he?
He's so chilled and just like everything just goes straight over the top of his head.
Is he?
But obviously he's class going forward.
There was a funny interview yesterday. Did you see it? When they were interviewing Duan and they were saying, "Oh, how proud are you to play?" And they had Sione underneath, and he was just laughing because they were like, "What's the difference between your last tour to now?" And then Sione was going, "He can pass."
Oh my God.
He obviously had him in his ear and trying not to laugh live on the interview. Oh, it was class.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
Sinclair Group has been part of the motor industry for over 80 years, and we've never stood still. Because for us, it's not just about where we've been, it's about where we're going. We believe in progress, embracing innovation, investing in technology, and moving towards a more sustainable future for everyone. We offer new and approved used vehicle sales and service for some of the world's most forward-thinking motor brands. But our drive is always to the future. So whether you're starting your journey or continuing your legacy, visit sinclairgroup.co.uk. Belong for good.
Going on to a couple of memories then, lads. Obviously, you've done 2 tours each together, really, haven't you? So, and you were roommates?
Yeah, me and
Yeah.
me and Dan's.
That was actually one of my questions, one of your best and worst roommates on tour. Because obviously, we're together for a long time.
Yeah,
it's that 8 weeks, isn't it?
I've never really had a bad one. Obviously, 2021, we were in our own rooms, so I didn't really share with anyone on that trip because of COVID. And I shared with Ant quite a bit. New Zealand tour, shared with JJ.
You swap every trip.
Jack Noel. Unless you asked, and then we just asked it. I'm going to go in with Dens now. We'd have the laptop up watching Love Island on top of the ironing board. All the boys would be in watching every night.
Yeah. And is he your favourite?
Oh, 100%. I'm not even ashamed to say it, mate, without a shadow of a doubt.
He was hoping you said that.
Yeah, no. There's no competition there.
I already know.
Exactly. The worst, mate, was probably Hask. Bloke didn't shut up, mate.
Really? Even in the bedroom?
He's a legend, obviously. I love the bloke. But bro, sometimes I just want to put my head down, bro, and, call it a night. Not trying to get roasted.
Was
he just trying to roast you, was he?
Just hammering me 24/7. I'm like, bro, come on, man. Let me get some rest.
Yeah, I remember Hask on 2017, and he was just on like Owen's back, Owen like Farrell's back constantly, and he'd just be on the phone like recording him, and Faz is just like just piss off sort of thing.
Yeah,
and Hask was just constant.
He must have been good value though, like just in terms of just centre of attention, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, mate. If the team is low, or you're sat at breakfast, for example, and like everyone's a bit knackered, got a double day or something, Hask will just come bowling in and just roast someone for 20 minutes straight, and then just leave. Like that's what he does, and he makes no bones about it, mate. Like no issues. If your feelings get hurt, mate, that's on you.
Yeah. Do Thomas will be like that on tour? Because he can roast boys, can't he? If he,
I think.
Will he be quite quiet? Do you reckon?
I think for the first couple of weeks he'll be quite quiet, especially when they have like the camps. If they have any camps, I'm not sure if they have camps planned or not, but they normally do. So I think in the camps he'll be quite quiet, and then once the games start, obviously he'll be on the piss. So he'll be
good crack.
Lunatic, yeah.
Any favourite story then, lads, from your Lions? Like your favourite memory? Like the Lions is pretty special, isn't it? Like it is a pretty awesome couple of weeks. Obviously, you got to get that in New Zealand. Obviously, not so much in South Africa, but what made it just that special for you? I think, especially as your first one.
Yeah, my first one obviously was probably having mum and dad and like my missus there. They flew out over to New Zealand, and I actually got to spend a bit of time with them as well. And just all of the fans, basically, wherever you go, it's just a sea of red. Obviously, we moved quite a bit on the New Zealand tour, and just everywhere you went, just the sea of red. My favourite memory would probably be sending Kieran Reid for a hot dog and then
the Lions
scoring that try. Yeah, would be my number one memory.
Up there for being probably Lions try.
Well, at
ever,
first I shut my pants because I was screaming for the ball off, and he threw it to me. I looked up and he was right there. I was like, "Oh my god, what am I doing here?" And the rest is history.
Mate, if you ever want to see how not to apply work rate to a winger, watch me after I throw the ball to Sanj.
You could have been on the end of it, but you just stand there and do it. It's like, what?
Miles off it.
Nothing worse.
Oh my god!
And any real good memories from that tour? Obviously, South Africa. It's a shame South Africa was no fans. That's what I was thinking. I was going to ask the question in terms of, a lot of the lads who were first tourists, obviously in South Africa. How desperate would they have been to be picked for this one, just to be in around fans? Because that's what makes it, doesn't it?
Mate, 100%. I think we all experienced playing in COVID, and at first you're like, oh, this is kind of decent. You rock up to the game, there's no frills, it's just do your job and go home, and it was quite nice. And then, you get to the big games and some of the biggest games of your life, and it's like when the fans aren't there, it's just rubbish. And a Lions tour without the fans, it was like a quarter of what it should be. You want to be able to walk around and bump into South Africans who give you some stick, and you want to be able to see the same fans who be giving you abuse on Twitter from Wales or Ireland or whatever during the Six Nations now singing your praises. That's what it's all about. And I feel really sorry for the lads whose only tour is that tour to South Africa, because it was not a good reflection of what the Lions is about. And I definitely think it was a motivating factor, like you said, for guys to want to, double up and go on this one to make amends, I guess. But when I look back on it, I'm like, mate, I really think they should have postponed it, because it just weren't right.
Yeah, it was tough to watch, wasn't it?
I agree.
With just, especially from a perspective in terms of, I know exactly what it's like with the sea of red in terms of the stadiums. Like, it
incredible atmosphere.
And it's probably more like just getting on the bus and driving to the stadium and just coming out of the hotel and just going out for a coffee, isn't it? It was nuts.
Like the whole experience of having everybody there, all the fans. That's obviously like the best part.
And then getting obviously all the drip from the fans. But what was your favourite memory of the New Zealand one then, Ant?
Do you know what? Sanj mentioned the camps there, and the camps were pretty brutal, I won't lie. And I remember the first time we got to kind of have a proper social in Ireland in 2017. Sean O'Brien said to me, bear in mind, I think I was 22 at this stage. I'd probably drunk about 3 beers in my whole life. And Sean O'Brien said to me, mate, don't worry. Just stick with me. We'll just drink Guinness all night and you will not have a hangover. So I tried my best, mate. Tried my best. And the day after, mate, I swear to God, I must have been in bed for 24 hours straight. Everything that was coming out of me was black. It was a disgrace, honestly.
Do you want to know a funny thing? Sean O'Brien said the exact same thing to me 4 years before. He was my roommate.
Mate, he's got something for wingers.
Oh, I think he's got something. He was my roommate, and he's literally, no joke, said the same thing. He was an absolute legend of a bloke, that guy. Sean O'Brien.
Yeah.
But lads, it's going to be a great tour. I'm not sure if you're going to be going down there and for work or anything like that.
I think so. Trying to sort it all out now.
Nice.
But I'm hoping so, mate. I think, like we said, given the last tour, I think going as a complete fan now would be amazing. So I would love to get out there.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll catch you, and mate, all the best for your testimonial. Hopefully there'll be a few events that everyone can sort of jump on and help out, because should be good. You and JJ, that'd be a lot of cash raised for yourself and charity.
Stinking of cash.
Sanj,
I'll be expecting an invite in the post.
Oh, don't worry, both of you are there already. I've actually auctioned you both off for tables, so don't worry about it.
No doubt.
Any golf days, let us know. Sanj, thanks for coming, mate. Enjoy all the best for rehab, and hopefully you'll be having a team soon. But all the best, lads, and cheers for coming.
Sportin Wales podcast, powered by Sinclair Group, your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.